Hi guys. Many years ago, when I started doing YouTube, I tried to source all my projects with items from Poundland. The theory being that we'd keep it cheap and they were items that were readily available. So I have a stock of these. I say a stock, 3 or 4 of them tucked away, never opened. I should think this was probably 2013, so it's probably 10 years old. Anyway, I have a little project. I want to make an alarm that sets off when water runs over it. Very simple, or at least you could do it a simple way and you can do it a complicated way. Simple way will just be have a couple of wires that when water runs over them, current flows between them and the alarm sounds. The more complicated way would be to have a transistor in circuit so that you don't need so much current to actually switch the circuit on, and then the transistor would actually turn on the alarm. Why are we looking at this? Well, the reason I bought these was they have a little reed switch in them operated by a magnet. I don't want a reed switch operated by a magnet. In this case, I actually want the alarm. So it's a bit of, it's not what I bought it for, but it'd be interesting to see if it works. I don't know what the battery's going to be like in there. I should imagine after 10 years, it'll be no good to anybody. That sort of indicates it comes off in that direction, but it doesn't want to move. All right, we've got a tag in there. It might make a noise as soon as I pull the tag out. Yeah, a bit of a noise, not much. So say after about 10 years, not particularly surprising, it's a bit silent. Yeah, magnet in there, reed switch in there. When they're together, the alarm shouldn't go off. Yeah. Now, but as I say, that's what I got it for originally. Was I realised it was somewhere I could harvest a reed switch. Nowadays, I'll just buy a pack of them from eBay. But what I'm wondering is, can I replace the reed switch with a couple of bits of wire? And if I put them in water, will there be enough current flow to actually set the alarm off? There's our little reed switch. So what I probably ought to do is replace the batteries anyway. I'll solder a couple of wires on there. And dip them in water and see what happens. I'm just trying to... Oh. That's pretty loud. Don't think I need to change the batteries. I think we've got a loose contact somewhere. I'm just trying to work out whether it sets off when that breaks or makes. Right. Okay, I've realised that I got this completely wrong. Anybody who was paying attention to what I was saying probably was wondering what I was going on about. because this works in entirely the reverse of what I want. When the magnet's next to it, that closes the switch and that keeps the sound off. When the magnet moves away, the reed switch opens, which means between those 2 points is an open circuit. That is detected, and it's when that's open circuit that the alarm goes off. I want it to be when it's closed circuit. So I want to connect 2 wires onto there, stick them into the water, and when they're in the water, I want it to conduct enough to trigger this and set it off. So it's actually the exact opposite to what I want. What I can do is demonstrate if we put a pair of wires between the battery and the actual circuit itself. I've got them connected together at the moment. When I switch it on, the alarm goes off. And I disconnect them. So there's no battery getting through to the circuit board. Then nothing is happening, there's no alarm. But the problem with water is it's non-conducting. You may think, what? But that's the point. Clean water doesn't conduct electricity very well. It does, but not enough to actually trigger a circuit like this. If I push them together in the water, it switches on, which is what I was saying at the very beginning. The complicated way is to have a transistor that detects that small current flow and switches on the alarm. And that's not what's going on here. I'll probably have to rerun this video entirely because my rambling has probably confused things and it's taken far too long. But the bottom line is this circuit is the exact opposite to what I want. It switches off when there's a connection between those 2 points, and I want it to switch on when there's a connection between those 2 points. Looking for this chip, came up with a little diagram which took me to a Hackaday circuit, which does exactly what I want. They use this little alarm thing, but they actually cut a wire here somewhere and use it in reverse. So I'll put a link to that article, and I'll see if I can cut the wires and join them together again in the right order and make it work. The only thing is, the diagram I'm looking at, although it's the same type of circuit, it looks to me like they're using that transistor the opposite way round. So whether that's a PNP instead of an NPN or NPN instead of PNP, well, I've got to say that worked out better than I expected. Can we see these two? Right, there was a resistor and a capacitor just here. You'll have to refer back to the original picture. I've desoldered them, as you can see, and then I've soldered 2 pieces of wire on to either side of where they were soldered, and then I've put a link between the 2 points where the reed relay was, or reed switch. So now, if I connect 2 wires together, the alarm goes off, which is okay, But what's more important, if they work when we go into water, because water is quite a high resistance. So I hold them either side to make sure they're not touching. There we are. So it's working. As I say, that's very slightly different to the way that they did it on the Hackaday site. But I'll put a link to their video, or their site anyway. It's not actually a video, it's just an article on their site. They actually cut a track, but I was looking at it thinking I could just desolder them. Don't need to cut anything then. So that's the original circuit with the reed switch removed and the little capacitor and resistor removed, and a pair of wires going across where the capacitor and resistor were. Oh, and linking up where the reed switch was. So the on-off switch still works. What we'll do is see if we can put this back together. The one they do on their site, they actually have a couple of coins stuck to the back of this, and then they just leave it so that when water gets into something, it makes contact with the two coins. That creates the circuit and sets the alarm off. What I want to do is wrap this around a pipe that has been leaking in the bathroom that I have fixed. It's a wider pipe than this, but just to give you an idea of what I intend to do. Have them like that. So when the water runs down the pipe, we get an alarm. Well, the hardest part of that project was getting it back in the case. Because I've used these stiff wires, it was pushing everything out of alignment when I was trying to put the cover on. That took me ages. If I'd used soft flexible wires, it probably would have been okay. Anyway, we are back together. So in the water, we have an alarm. Right, this is where we had the leak up here. It was actually on the next joint up. I've wrapped some masking tape around the copper tube because we don't want the copper tube to set the alarm off. So I'll just try and dribble a little bit of water down there and see if that sets the alarm off. Oh. Well, that's going to be annoying. Yeah. Okay, well, it looks like that'll work. Only problem is now I've got to dry that off again. But yeah, that looks like that'll work. So I think I fixed it anyway, but this is just came to mind that we should be able to set some sort of alarm up. Obviously this looks a bit unsightly, but this is a demonstration. Thanks for watching. You'll always find more information down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. You might like to subscribe just here. Over here is my latest video on my channel. And down below is a playlist related to what you've just been watching. Thanks again for watching.